Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you from downtown Scranton, Pennsylvania, and in this video we're going to check out a building called the Scranton Cultural Center, better known as the Masonic Temple. A few times a year they offer open, free public tours to check out the inside of it. I've actually never been inside this building, so I'm excited to see what's in there. It's one of the more beautiful buildings in Pennsylvania, so we're going to head inside and I figure I'd take you along with me. So come along with me as we check out the Scranton Cultural Center at the Masonic Temple. So we're waiting momentarily for the tour to start. I figured I'd give you guys a quick look at how it looks in here in the main lobby. I want to show you, even these elevator doors are like inscribed with like an inscription. You can feel the texture on it. So it looks like there's 5 floors, including the basement.
Well, good morning. Welcome to the Cultural Center. My name is Claire. I'm a volunteer here. Obviously, I get the tours. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I know most of the answers. If not, we could check online for that answer. And sometimes I know where to go to get it, the answer. As you know, it's a Cultural Center. It was formerly called the Masonic Temple. Okay? And the reason it was called the Masonic Temple is because in 1923, 24, 25, the Masons, a group of 6 men, which were the Masons and the Scottish Rite, got together to, with plans to build a building that would incorporate 3 functions. And the 3 functions were to have their meetings here, to have a theater, and to also have a ballroom. And what they did was they put on a commission. And the commission was won by an architect named Raymond Hood. We'll talk about him more downstairs, but he won the commission because of the design of the building. And the reason being was the center of the building is what the Masons used to utilize, the whole center of the building. And then there were obviously the ballroom, where they used to like to have ballroom dances and parties. There's a steel metal door underneath the arch on both of these sides that could be shut. So there could have been 3 things going on at one time. The Masons wanted their privacy coming in the main doors. And then there's also many doors at that end that people who could have a party or ballroom would come in those doors. And the same thing with the theater. So this way, basically, it was only like 3 buildings because you would never be able to mix the groups up. Currently, we don't use those doors because of just the volume of people we got and the functionality of utilizing space for like today, this is a show today, ELF. So basically what happens is when a theater company comes and the Cultural Center could take such large theater companies, we incorporate the ballroom for their props and their costumes and their equipment. Okay? So basically, that's what's in the ballroom. So you're not going to be able to see too much of the ballroom today because of that reason. The theater you're going to see, and then the junior ballroom they're using. So I don't really know what they're using it for, and then they incorporate downstairs. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see the dressing rooms today. Because when the theater company comes, they incorporate the whole building, so of course we're gonna block out parts of it. So, you know, the main doors are open, you know, theater goers come in, you know, there's stuff going on in the back, there's stuff going on downstairs, so that it incorporates like a good portion of the building. But as I said, the building was commissioned to Raymond Hood. And the building was, groundbreaking was in 1927, and it was completed in 1930. So when you go through the building, you think in 3 years, they built this. It's like remarkable. They did it in that short period of time. The building is 188,000 square feet. It's 3 times as large as the White House. The White House is only 55,000 square feet. So anyone see the White House, you always think the White House is going to be like blocks long, but it's really not that big. So it's not even as big as this. So it's only 1/3 of the size. Okay, of course, there's 7 stories here. I'm not sure how many stories are at the White House. 2 are below ground. Hopefully, we're only going to go through 5 of them today. So hopefully that doesn't get cut down by.
There's 2 below ground.
There's 2 below ground. The lower level, and I'll take you down toward the end of the tour, and then there's a level below that, and that's just basically heating units and plumbing. So it's really, I know sometimes a guy will go, well, I'd love to see the heating unit over here. You know, I mean, you'd have to call and see if you get a special tour for that. To me, I don't think most people would be interested in seeing a heating unit, but that's just my opinion. In 1986, it became a nonprofit building, I guess, and it's on the historical registry. So with that being said, you're going to see a lot of damage throughout the building. So because it's on the historical list, we can't just hire somebody to come and paint or wallpaper. It has to be historically look like it did years ago. And I'm going to show you how that varies when we go upstairs. Some things were replaced historically, and it's very, very expensive. So because it's nonprofit, there's always fundraising going on and things like that. The Masons are a fraternal organization. Currently, only men are members. The meetings are still currently held here, so we will visit the 3rd floor where their meetings still are held. And that's the only place you can't take pictures. But, you know, I'm going to talk more about the rooms upstairs. But just to give you a little background on the Masons, they're not a religious organization. You're going to see some religious references, but they believe in all religions, and no religion is above another. And as I said, there's a lot of famous people that were Masons, George Washington, politicians. There's the Robert Casey Library I'll be taking you in. Let me bring your attention to the seal on the floor. Now the Masons and Scottish Rite were very specific on what they wanted in the building. Raymond Hood designed the building. He also designed the interior and most of the furniture and light fixtures you're going to see today. Raymond Hood. So the seal on the floor says, "Let no man enter upon any great or important undertaking without first invoking the aid of deity." And above the elevators, "To the glory of the God, architect of the universe." So, we're going to start our way up. And that was being with the concept of that any space could be, currently any space is rented. I'm not sure back then, but the Masons wanted every place to have, they were very theatrical, and they're very theatrical to this day. They love music, they love theater, they're involved like the Mummers Parades, St. Patrick's Day Parades, so they wanted like some emergency to get up and, but unfortunately that's not the case. I'm going to draw your attention to the ceiling. I don't want to talk about this, but the ceiling does change as we go down. And I think it's interesting of the thought process back in 1925, 26, that every ceiling is different, but in the center, it kind of looks like seeds, and they're going to kind of grow when we go downstairs. So we'll talk about the ceiling on every floor. Okay?
Show a movie here in Tuscan Hall.
Remember I said there's a stage here, maybe I don't know how many lodges meet here, but maybe the rooms were being utilized at 2 other lodges, so that's why they decided, or maybe because there was, he said, the building itself cannot be built against that, because it cost $2.5 million back in 1927. It was gonna cost $1.5 million, and they needed $1 million more, and the Masons raised that money in 10 days. 10 days, back then. And one little boy told me, he goes, "That's impossible," because that was where they put the stock money. Let's see. As I said, the head of the lodge is in the front. And the Masonic representatives, I told you about those, they always ask for help and guidance from greater power, and no religion is above another, and they respect all religions. I think that's something, oh, okay. Here, we're talking about threes. They believed in advancement in knowledge symbolizes 3 stages of life: youth, manhood, and age. And there's 3 degrees of entity into the Masons: apprentice, journeyman, and master Mason. So that's the kind of punch. As I said, some of these lights on the ceiling are original, but of course the other lights are more modernized for, lighting and shows. Because they currently are, a lot of times children's plays are held here. Every floor has a hidden door. In this corner of the building, and then that far opposite corner of the building. We're not going to go in it. No one really knows why they wanted that incorporated into the building, but it is there. Yes. Very good. See? The ceiling is a little different here. See the center? Yeah. A little different. Every ceiling is different, but the center kind of grows. So it looks like a kind of nice. And that's, as I said, there's a picture over here of Colonel Watrous. He was the Grand Mason of Pennsylvania. He was also Attorney General. No, he was an attorney, who was the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania in 1891 to 1895. Anyone familiar with the area? He was the developer of the Long Compact. He was also, if anyone's familiar with the Watrous Armory, it was just in the news. Some man from New York, a millionaire, bought it. He has all artwork in it, but they named the building after him. So he was an important guy, I guess.
What is his name again?
Watrous, Colonel Watrous.
Colonel
I don't know his first name. He was born in Blakely. He was born in 1851. He died in 1937. He was a Grand Mason of Pennsylvania, so he was, he made some rules. You're going to see some artifacts in here of the Masons. There's like in the cases. There's pictures. Some of the furniture is original. Furniture out there was original. Furniture in here is original. There's lockers back there, but we don't go back there. Okay, this meeting room is called Snyder Hall. It was originally called Tuscan Hall, and that's because it was based off Tuscan, Italian Gothic art, Tuscany in Italy. So the decorations were like kind of schemed like that. Now what I think is interesting is,
The knockers.
right, on both sides of the doors. And when I first, well, I got a tour, but I thought, before you started to talk about it, I thought, that's kind of strange. Why is there a knock on the inside? There's no entrance from in there. Well, I found out when I took my tour training, or when they got to that point. What happens is the meeting starts at 6 o'clock, so I could just imagine, because I don't know anyone personally a Mason, I guess they close the door at 6 o'clock. So if you come late, there's somebody watching the door here. You have to give the secret knock to get in.
Okay.
Or I guess you don't come in. But I can't imagine anyone being late. I don't think that'd be a good thing, because they're a very organized group, so. Okay, we're gonna enter this room now. This is where no pictures will be taken. So this is where the meetings are held. Everything is original except for the walls. Back in the 70s, I believe, there was water damage. And since the Masons kind of own this room, our major sponsors, I know I keep saying the same thing, but they didn't want it to look like it did, so they were able to, they have a thing about the sun and the moon and the sky, so they want it to look like the sky. But that's the only thing that's been replaced in the room except for, these used to be buildings and beliefs of the Masons. Obviously, it's not in there because it's very valuable, but that's what it symbolizes. The three candles around the Book of Law are supposed to stand for the sun, the moon, and the worshipful master. This one is called Gaza Hall. Originally, but now it's called Flemish Hall, so I don't do it. These are the only two meetings, but as I said, they can utilize the room upstairs. The Governor Casey, when I take you downstairs on the second floor, sometimes they have meetings in the government. Why they don't meet here? Maybe there's another lodge. I don't even know how many lodges are in this area. They're, like, because they have a major sponsor in the building, they basically have a meeting wherever they want. You see how upstairs they have chairs moved up there. Because those chairs aren't always there. So. And remember, 3 steps up. And the ceiling is the same, except this is sketched out here. These are the symbols. Here we go with 3 again. The pick, the shovel, and the crowbar. They were used in ritual work and groundbreaking for the building. Really, what channel's that on?
It's kind of strange.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's all amazing. No, it's just a scoop on it. It's a scoop. As I said, it's currently just men. Okay, just have to put up a yeah, you can't really look too much at the door. You can just let it go and it'll close. It's always moved together. Yes.
Can't get back through.
Right, that's only an exit.
Oh.
Nobody knows why. You don't want to go that far. Okay, this is called Craftsman Hall. Originally it was called the game room. Why did they call it the game room? That's right. That's right. The floor is cork. There used to be billiard tables here. Does anybody know what billiard tables are?
Pool tables.
So the reason why the floor is cork is because when the ball used to bounce off the table, it wouldn't make noise downstairs in the library. Yeah, well, I love cork. I don't know cork board. Craftsman Hall was called the game room. This room used to have billiard tables, the pool tables, and the floor is cork. That's because when the ball would fall off the table, it wouldn't make noise. Library beneath us. This is, a lot of times this is rentable space. They had a birthday party here last time we toured. Yep. Here's, sometimes the lodges meet here. Yes. This is the largest fireplace. There's 3 in the building. There's a lot of artifacts, memorabilia. Remember I said there's old organs, the original carpet.
It's got dragons on top.
You know, you come to buy local, this will be all set up with craft people. So they're volunteers. Can I ask anybody how they decided to come here? Did you see it online or?
On Facebook, I saw.
Oh, okay. So it seems like since I've been doing the tours, we get more and more people. It's not big. It's not big. You know what I'm saying?
I just have to say this is probably my favorite room so far.
time. And they did fix the light, yes.
Looks like there was a railing.
Yes, there was a railing, I don't know. Some people, see the ceiling is a little different.
Yeah.
Switch here. Okay, we're gonna come this way first. We're gonna go in there, don't worry. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to dig into this room, but it is what it is. This is the second floor. That little storage area, we use like, there was a party here, looks like something's going on later there. That's used as a bar area, it used to be where the post office was. So the mailman would bring the mail and then deliver it to the building. Okay? This room right here is called the ladies' parlor. You can just see it. That's another fireplace in there. Carved limestone. That's where the ladies, remember I said the Masons and all the organizations would come in, celebrate, and eat there, and Easter Star. They would meet in there. What's interesting about that room is, not now, but when the building was built, the women were up in the main entrance. There's doors in that room to go downstairs. When you walk outside, you see like a patio, and you'll see like there's a door, and that's the door the women had to use. So in other words, if a man, a Mason, coming for a meeting, he couldn't bring his wife up to the main. You can push the curtain back to see the main ballroom.
Oh, wow.
Basically, like for weddings and things, that sometimes they'll utilize the balcony, so like a cocktail party. Sometimes they'll utilize this room for the bridal party.
A lot of musical equipment. Oh, this is where the walls, all the stuff for the show. This is where the
There's yeah, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know what it's called, every year they change it, but I mean, it looked like we're going, and they had like white light, it was right before Christmas. But I've seen beautiful weddings here.
I'm the chair of the education committee for Broadway Theater League. We have a program called Broadway Theater Link. So this is a good plug, spread the word. For many of the shows, not all, but those which have educable content for elementary through college kids, some of them we don't have programs for. But for a program like ELF, we do an education piece. So before the show starts, about an hour, or about 2 hours before the show starts, we have a workshop of some sort. For ELF, our workshop is about elves other than Buddy, who's in the show. This is a professional storyteller, Chris Arcangelo, and she is a bona fide elf, just so you know. She is actually an elf. So what the most appropriate person in the world to come and do a workshop with kids about elves and stories about them and what they do and all that, preparing them to go and see the play. We have a grant from Lackawanna County, I must say, and the objective is for them to go to see the play looking for something more than just entertainment. They're going to learn something and they're going to identify it in the play. They see we feed them lunch, they see the show, they meet members of the cast afterwards, and then we do a little evaluation. And they don't pay for the workshop, they don't pay for lunch, they don't pay for the talk back, they pay half price for the ticket, which nobody gives you in Scranton. Nobody gives you half price. So for $27, the kids are going to be with us from 11 in the morning until 5:30, fed, educated. And we have another one for the Sound of Music, and it's called Let's Start at the Very Beginning, and we have a professional dancer and a musician who are coming to teach choreography to the song Do Re Mi, and after the show is finished, they're going to present it to the cast of the show.
Nice.
So it's their first audition. And tying into that is one of the young boys in the company, his name is Ethan Cotillo, right? Do you know Ethan? Did you know him? Yeah. He is in the show, so he is starting at the very beginning. He's debuting on Broadway as a 5th grader in The Sound of Music, so it ties into our workshop as well. So we're hoping that the company allows him to come and talk to us. So we have these education programs. Check us online under Broadway in Scranton, Broadway Theater League NEPA. Right, okay, and check, look at these things. Sorry I didn't bring brochures with me. Pass the word because it's very valuable. We have backstage tours, We have producers, Tony Award-winning producers who come and talk to these kids. It's really a great program, and more people need to know about it.
That's right. See, this is an original floor, it's terracotta style.
Is it original?
Yeah. This is named after Governor Casey. Governor Casey was a Mason, that's why they named the room after him. As I said, sometimes they have Masons that are here. The walls are black walnut, probably be unheard of today. See how it's hidden in vocation? It's a very nice feature. This room used to hold hundreds of historical records of Masons. Obviously, those that were valuable are been taken and put in storage. This is the original crowbar. What did I say? Depict different cultures' internal life symbols. Did we lose somebody?
There's someone back there still talking to the woman back there.
No, but where's that young guy that came in at the end?
Oh, that, I haven't seen him in a while.
No, he's been gone for a while. I don't think he stayed.
Oh, okay. These stained glass windows have symbols, internal life symbols, yin yang cross, India swastika, which is a reverse of the Greek swastika, and it refers to Masonic rituals. The carpet was replaced in 2006 at the cost of $12,000. It was made in Europe. The original carpet is over in a little frame on the wall there, right behind you. And you can see it's very close.
Oh, yeah.
Now, somebody will tell you that I was told it cost $12,000, but then I was told by one of the managers, it cost $12,000, but $6,000 to make it and $6,000 to ship it from Europe.
Probably.
Because it had to be.
It is very
That's where the
close.
original came from, and that's where, I mean, it looks very similar to the original.
It does.
Set that one. Let's see. Behind me is an antique clock. That was a gift to the building in 1940. It used to tell the time, the date, the position of the moon, and it used to chime every hour. It's turned off and needs repair. To the right of the clock is a 500-pound bronze relief of the Last Supper, donated in 1940 by Pennsylvania artist Otto Schweitzer. It's believed to be one of 5 that he made. For piracy. This door, same thing with the bookcases, it matches. Okay, be careful on the steps, especially the last one. We're going to be right there in that foyer. You can go into the foyer there. As you heard that woman say, there's the Elf show today, Broadway Theater.
I've been here.
So, be careful, the last one's in front carpet. We lose some people.
Yeah, a lot of times they had the vending stuff set up over here.
It goes back to like Egypt, those days.
This room is simply amazing.
Okay, we're gonna work our way up to the balcony and the mezzanine. Okay? Oh, yeah, I don't wanna go down there. You can sit here in the first row. I think these are the cheapest seats. And what, does anybody know why?
The bar in front of your face.
Right. Doesn't bother me. Believe, because there have been new seats put in, and we have made more handicap seats. It roughly holds about 1,866. Okay? It's called the Weinberg Theater. The chandelier is 12 feet high. Anybody want to guess how many light bulbs are in there? 100 watt bulbs?
50?
He's under and you're over. It's 196, but you were very close.
Wow.
196 100-watt bulbs. Now think about this, the mindset you think, oh, if they have to change those light bulbs, they have to get scaffolding and all that. No, they don't have to put scaffolding up. Because in 1925, 26, 1927, when they started groundbreaking, they thought, how are they going to change the light bulbs? That comes down to about the ledge there.
Wow.
So this way they only have to use a tall ladder.
Oh, wow.
So how smart people were.
Very.
What happened to people
More
over the last
clever back
88
then.
years?
More clever back then.
Now it's everything easy, you know, get it done quick. So that's a nice function.
Claire,
Yes.
Margot wants to know if you can get seats in those little curtain
No.
there.
When we get downstairs, you could walk up there, but no, those seats are only for sponsors. So like, say if somebody in the show had family here, and their manager of the theater company said, okay, we'll give your family those seats, that's how they get those. Seats, you're missing what's on the right side. And the same thing on that side, you're missing the left. So you're not seeing the whole stage. Right, sometimes they just go in kind of people, they're like, yeah, so, I think it's just, they just look nice. And you know what, I mean, movies and things, you always say, like, shows that are, you know, we have Broadway theater, we have dance recitals, we have concerts. Tonight, there's Elf. The Cultural Center is of value because Elf production, and you're gonna see it behind me, behind the stage and downstairs. Well, yeah, we saw, well, I think it's pretty well been sold out. Upstairs, oh yeah. What? Yeah. This is the main theater.
My son never plays a musical, and I think that was the most packed I've seen in the theater.
Well, it was pretty close to being sold out, it wasn't, but I was surprised there was not many people. But you know, we had people complain because people were laughing.
They complained because of laughter.
Yeah, I know, we were dying. So we get people complaining every show. Well, I mean, or like, I didn't know my seat was gonna be here. They put the seat downstairs, but we can't just move you because we went and sold the seats down here. Yeah, no, that was, I was surprised. It was like, who's the women? I mean, you were here, people were really laughing.
This definitely has to be the most amazing theater I've ever been in. I've been in Radio City Hall, but I think this is even more exquisite and extravagant. You really need to see this in person to appreciate it. Video's not going to do it justice.
Yeah, you know what, you just have to laugh. You just say, okay.
Hopefully the video and the tour guide speaks for itself. I've been trying to keep quiet and just let you enjoy all the information that she's sharing and also the sights.
So this is the theater, so if you come to a show, this is your highlight race.
Get a quick look at this here.
Yes, I do. When I realized that I get a show, I went home and got the image.
So it's pretty amazing. Got to get back with the tour. Okay, so this is back in the main lobby where we started.
This is why they got all of those. Sorry. They have a huge room to put it all.
Right, and then you think about this, this is where it could seat 1,000 people for dinner. And then they would use the stage, like for a band, and then there would be a backdrop with lights on it or the couple's names. So it looks really pretty when there's a wedding. It's transformed into a beautiful venue. Right, because the band would be over there and people would be sitting here. And then the kitchen's across the back.
Is this considered backstage then? From the?
This is backstage, yep. But like I said, like we couldn't have a wedding now because this is here. So see, things are a little different than they were 80 years ago. The chandeliers are taken apart. The floor has been redone here, probably because it's, you know, it's a big rental space for weddings. And the wallpaper was redone. And unfortunately, I can't show you the good, there's one patch that's the original, and you cannot tell the difference. It was redone about 10 years ago.
Would this be considered backstage?
This is backstage, yep, yep. As I said, like this would be, like 1,000 people could be seated here for dinner. so if you could put, picture it, you go online, you can see like the venues, they have them online. The stage itself would be like where the band would be, and then behind the band, they could even push that out and put plywood over the seats to make it even seat more people. But the band would be there, and then there would be a backdrop with like lights to make it look pretty, lights or. Oh, great. He was from Massachusetts. I'm going to talk about more in a couple minutes. He was from Massachusetts. He was the architect of the building and also interior designer of most of the light fixtures and furniture you saw. His picture is right there, Raymond Bud. Now when you think about it, don't forget, 3 years, just 3 years of buildings. Here's your original renderings. I'm drawing by hand anymore. So when you think of how many prints, I always wanted to know how many prints of these took to design the whole building. Yeah, it was a lot more than 2. I'm going to draw your attention to, this room was named after Raymond Bud in the late 70s. What used to be here is a bowling lane. There used to be 8 bowling alleys, and they used to start here and work their way toward the back of the building. When I take you further in, you're going to see a little bit of how that could have happened, but there were 8 bowling lanes across here, so they like bullets. We can't make kids work. I said back then they had to work if they people wanted to eat. So it was like his mind was, what do you mean they worked? Oh, that I don't know their name. So that's what used to be called Mansion Row. It was one whole lot. There was a lot of money back in the 20s here in Scranton. It was like the place to go. Between here and New York City, it was like a town. So. I don't know where they got the limestone. Well, it's rough by nature, just like people are. And then over time, you become more polished. So that's why the outside is rough.
So just to give you a brief aspect as to where we are, we're currently in the basement right now, below the lobby. There's actually a sub-basement below this that houses the inner workings of the building, like the electrical system, the boiler, hot water, all that sorts of stuff. So that's actually below us. So there's actually 2 floors below the main level, which is pretty amazing.
They're all original, and then what's nice about St. Patrick's, so that's what's down there, that's the lower level. So that's like the lower level. So the only other level below that is like the Christmas and electrical. No fun. This, yeah, because I'm taking you down like a ramp that's under the stage.
So the tour guide said that these doors would actually take you in the pit area below the stage. But we can't go there because they have the elf productions being set up, but that would take you in the pit area below the stage. So we may have to return for another tour in the future to check that out.
I would advise you to go online to look, because it's held most Saturdays. Like I know St. Patrick's Day, it's not held. St. Patrick's Day Parade Day is not.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the video here. I did want to do my outro outside the building, but unfortunately it was too windy there, so I decided to come home and do it. But make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video for a photo montage. But that was a look at the Scranton Cultural Center, also known as the Masonic Temple. I first would like to thank the tour guide. I don't know her name, unfortunately, but she did a great job at explaining everything and was very knowledgeable about the building and the history of it. It was unfortunate we couldn't see all the areas of the tour, mainly due to the production of the Elf Broadway show. Certain areas were off limits and we weren't able to see them, such as the pit area under the stage and backstage, but it's understandable as to why we couldn't, but they did explain what was there, and I got a couple glimpses of some of the areas to share with you guys. Also, I couldn't film the Masons room where they held their meetings. Those 2 rooms were off limits for photographs and video. So as you notice, they had the camera pointed down and kept the audio going so you could hear the explanation and history of it, but out of respect for the tour guide, I didn't want to show it on film. The key rooms that I enjoyed personally was the game room, which was the blue lighting arched room with the clock in there. as well as the Governor Casey's Library, and also the main theater. I'm not a big theater person, I haven't been in many of them, but comparing it to, say, Radio City Music Hall, I have been there. I think this one's even more beautiful, more exquisite than that one, and probably one of the most beautiful buildings in downtown Scranton. It's hard to imagine that, you know, this was built in the early 1900s and what they went through to construct all that. It's kind of mind-blowing. And seeing it on film is not going to do it justice. If you're able to come here in person, take one of the tours. It's free, open to the public, and you really couldn't take in the appreciation of what they went through to make such an iconic building. I will post a link down below for their Facebook page. All you have to do is go to the event section, and you can see when they're having their next scheduled tour. It is held several times throughout the year. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite part of the tour was, or what your favorite room was. I told you my 3 favorites. Let me know what yours are as well. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook, and you can help support my channel by picking up a t-shirt or donating to my Patreon page. You can find the links to those down below as well. If you want to see more videos like this, just subscribe and ring that notification bell. And lastly, thank you so much for watching, and like always, I'll see you in the next video.